Okay, welcome to this episode of the Deep Stone Podcast. Welcome. I'm joined once again by Nik and Proto. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty well, yeah. Lots happening in Destiny, and obviously there's been. We're gonna get into it in a bit, but new exotic quests, new battlegrounds, new everything. Feels like it's still. I mean, we're a week in, right? And it's just feels fresh for me.
Yeah,
so far. Yeah.
Same. So it's good. It's good.
Very good.
Well, that's great. You know, I've been working. I work like every fucking Tuesday. So every time something releases or the new reset happens, I'm always like 8 hours behind everyone. But, you know, so yesterday, we'll just jump right into it. Spoilers doesn't matter now because it already happened. But yesterday, the new scout rifle dropped. Give us your thoughts. What do you guys think so far? Like, what's your opening opinion on this whole entire quest? I mean, first things first, Bungie gave it to us really freaking fast, which is pretty awesome compared to Hawkmoon. What do you guys think, Nik and John?
Okay. You want to go first, John?
No.
Okay. Well, so immediately when I discovered like what the rifle does, and I guess I work backwards from the gun and then for the mission, but the scout is pretty much because, I mean, people have been thinking like, what's the way to make scouts right? Like, where do they fit in? And this is exactly it. Like, make them a bit more harder hitting. You know, they can't. It's one of those things. They can't make them two tap from the go. Like, you have to. Either that, you have to have like 100 RPM or something like that to balance a two tap or whatever. But making it like this, where it's a three tap, but really like powerful hits, like you do 80 something in PvP to the head, and sometimes you can two tap. Like I think it's a wonderful like place for a scout. That middle ground between a sniper and kind of like Ariana's too. So it's in that same like damage profile as Ariana's almost. And obviously, I think the most beautiful weapon in this game, pretty much. And it's continuing, yeah. What Destiny does the best, just cool stuff, cool sound, cool everything. So
gunplay. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And I guess we'll do a separate thing on the mission as well. But what are your thoughts, John, on the gun itself?
I absolutely love it. So I've not rerun the mission, which I know Dimitri has. So I've not got any rolls on it. I just wanted to go and use the gun. So I ran a load of Nightfalls and stuff like that just to test it out, and it feels so good to use. And I swear, I don't know if it's just in my mind, but I swear there's two reload mechanics to it. Like there's the load, and then if you reload when you zoomed in, it feels like it reloads quicker. But I don't know if that's just me.
Yeah, I mean you can kind of reload cancel it in a way, and because it's got the dual loader thing.
Yeah. So that might be what it is, and it feels like there's two ways of reloading it, but it handles amazing. I'm not a fan of non-automatic scout rifles. Like any scout rifle I get, I like it to have an auto fire on it because I like to just hold my finger down. Whereas this, I'm happy to go because of what I'm visually seeing with the animation. Every time I fire, boom, and what I'm seeing correlates with what my finger's doing, and it's incredible. The only way it could be better is if when you reloaded it, if it literally went like that and pushed it, and you know like with a full-on Levy action rifle like in Terminator when he reloads his shotgun. If he did that, so now it does that animation when you throw a grenade, it does that animation, or if you melee, one of the two. But that's the only thing that could make it better. But that's just animation. But the gun itself is incredible, and I like the perk. You know, just they're firing away, get the buff, big damage, big reload, carry on. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention also, like the iron sights. You know, the same kind of appeal that you had with the exotic primary sniper in Destiny 1. You had I'm blanking on the name now. No Land Beyond. That's it. So the same kind of appeal as No Land Beyond. It's a little bit more tricky maybe to use. It's not as precise maybe as a red dot or something, but that kind of just makes it even more cool.
Yeah. It feels.
It doesn't zoom much.
No,
it's like
I guess to go with the name of Tex Master, it feels mechanical.
Yeah.
It feels like a rifle has been built. Like Zavala says, it's a custom made one, so he never had any registration of it, so he can't confiscate it because it never existed. And it feels like somebody's built this, and it's not got all fancy tech in it. It's not going to be interfaced by a machine or the Vex or anything like that. It's a rifle made for a Guardian, and I just really like it. I just wish it wasn't an exotic because I want to use that and another exotic at the same time. But if that was a legendary, everybody would be running it. It would probably be one of the biggest played weapons if it was legendary. So, but I like it. I like it a lot, and it goes well with the seasonal grenade launcher. That's the pair I was running yesterday in Nightfall. So.
Yeah, and I mean the interesting thing is like, it would be cool if Tex Mechanica had a couple legendary weapons, but that's the thing. I'm not. It's been a long time since I've used scout rifles, and I like them. I do like scout rifles, and I think Bungie may have heard my cries over all this time of stating that scout rifles were in a really bad place in the game, but I wanted to see them be good. I wanted to see one where they could actually capture what a scout rifle should feel like.
Yeah.
And this weapon feels incredible. It feels so good. And it looks so good. And it just, everything about it is satisfying. It's kind of like Ace of Spades, where like everything about the gun is satisfying. The reload, the way it sounds when you shoot, the little things about it. And so like this gun, I admit I was really surprised when they decided to go the scout rifle, but pleasantly surprised because me and you had our theories of first curse and we were wrong as hell.
We were super wrong.
Are you glad you were wrong?
Kind of.
Yeah.
I
think I'm glad.
Yeah.
It's different. Like I wouldn't have been mad with first curse, but I'm pleasantly surprised because like it's unique and different. I think I would have been really disappointed if it was like something else from D1 that nobody fucking cared about. Like if this had turned out to be, if this had turned out to be Icebreaker, I would have been pissed off, because like I think guns like that break the game. But I mean the gun itself is fantastic. I think it's great. Obviously I ran it a second time, so I got a subsistence roll. Yeah. With short action stock, light mag, and extended barrel. So it's really solid. I have great reload speed. And I honestly, I don't really see why I would need another roll, to be honest, because I was watching Asdacross's video just to get his review in, and he loves this gun. It's like his new favorite gun. And my brother got Vorpal weapon, which he said does damage if you just keep chaining the shots. But I feel like Guardians, if you're trying to get a roll of this gun, there's Outlaw, which I don't think this gun needs Outlaw, especially when the catalyst drops. But subsistence on this gun is disgusting, just so everyone knows.
Are there any unique perks for it? Do we know? Because again, I've not looked into anything on it. I just played it yesterday. Loved it, and then
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see, but I'll check. But let's start talking about the mission. So when you get this game, this quest, it kind of drops you directly into the mission. Like, there's a couple steps before that, but it's like not super important. But then you get dropped into the mission.
The custom load screen, by the way, like when you load in. It was just like Destiny 1. You come in, ship comes in, drops you off, pans out a little bit, ship's floating there in space.
You say your own ship, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I did it on my own. I don't know if you guys, when you did it in a pair, was there two ships in orbit?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice. I really,
awesome.
really liked it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just little things like that. I just, thank you, Bungie. You know, I know we're only a week in, but they've given us 2 amazing exotics. You know, the bow and the scout rifle. The content's good. Yeah. Also, we'll get into the new battleground about, you know, whether we like that or not. But the battlegrounds are new, they're fresh, they're challenging. You know, no, you can't get carried through a battleground. All of you need to contribute. You know, so yeah, but yeah, the loading cutscene into that mission was that said it for me. I was like, they've put effort into this. You know, if it's boring rest away, I'd still like it because they put effort into me starting that mission. The atmosphere. I just turned around and I'm just panning and I'm just looking at all this wreckage of the reef and I'm like, what is this? Art team again smashed it. Yeah, absolutely smashed it.
But don't forget, people are gonna forget about this. The mission told us 2 really interesting things. One, that the darkness really did remove those planets.
Yes, yeah,
so they're not only left in the wake of Mars, so they're really gone. And 2, you get a lore tab, lore page, the first lore page of the book.
Yeah, already. Yeah.
Captain's log. The captain's log. It's from the perspective of the hunter, which is what the lore tab of the gun is too. Catabasis. I highly recommend Guardians don't overlook that lore page. You should really. I think you get lore pages from 1 completion per week, and there's 12 in total. Now, that first lore page gives some really good insight onto Callus's true form. It's super interesting. Like, I was like, what? Like,
I look forward to it. Yeah.
I honestly highly recommend you read it and then tweet about it because I was like, what the fuck? I was like, oh my God. So it's super interesting. So highly worth it. The gun can drop with, at least in terms of like the final perk type stuff, subsistence, outlaw, killing wind, snapshot, moving target, vorpal, and 4 times. But I think the 3 roles you should be trying to get for this gun are subsistence, 4 times the charm, or vorpal weapon. Everything else is target. Like, fine. Yeah, moving target's fine, but like honestly, I think subsistence is disgusting on this weapon because you're just gonna keep chaining shots.
Do you think you'd run 2 weapons? You'd have a crucible weapon and a PvE weapon.
Right, because
target might be good crucible. So
yeah, exactly.
That might be.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, you wouldn't use moving target for a nightfall, would you? Because you know, or any PvE content more than likely.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
So yeah, so that might be the thing then running 2.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I mean, the mission, like you said, it has its own little cutscene, you know, and it's really, honestly, I've said this before, I am a sucker for missions like that. Anything that has a cutscene, you don't even have to talk, but as long as I can see my character, I'm like, like I don't know, it just like it more so deeply ingrains me in the world. So it has a cutscene, and then you think you're supposed to be going through the main entrance.
Yeah, I was there going. Is there a switch? Is there a switch? What's going on
me
here?
Too. Jumping up the box. Turns out you have to jump.
Yeah, that all left hand corner. I kept jumping on it, going, "Oh, I've got to jump over there." I was like,
"Yeah, exactly,
dead."
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm sitting there jumping across space trying to get to it, and my brother's a warlock, and he keeps fucking up his glide, so he keeps dying. And I'm a hunter. I'm sitting there at the end already, ready to go, and you know, I guess the idea is you send one person in your team to do that, and then you can just open the door. You know, so next time we do it, I think we'll just do that, and we'll have him wait. But, man, the vibes of this mission are awesome. Just the dark, creepy atmosphere. Destiny at its best.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think you guys mentioned the alien vibe, like the whole thing where something sounds like something's hunting you, or some big creatures, and in there, and also the original music for it too. Like there was this other mellow track when you after the hangar part when you go outside again.
Yeah,
and that's where you had the little like the muted sounds again, and the new track and the voice lines there. That part in particular like got me in terms of the sound design.
The voice lines are different, by the way, for team members. They're different. I heard Cade 6. My brother heard Callus.
I heard Osiris.
I heard Zavala. My brother heard Aldrin.
Cool.
I had Aldrin Sob, yeah. When you just after the hangar bit, in your next room, and you've got the drop ships and stuff, Aldrin Sob. I was like, what?
Then I heard Callus also.
Yeah. Oh, no, I only had Sov,
But the one that fucked me up was my first run, and it was perfect timing because I heard Cade 6, and he was like, "Bring back Adventures Guardian." I was like, "What?" I was literally like, my brother was over there, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "What? What? What's going Cade?" I was like, "It was perfect
no.
First run."
Yeah, I'd have freaked out then if I didn't have Cade.
So they got Nolan back for some voice lines. Maybe he's got more. Maybe.
Well, it could have just been that they just pulled a different track and just reused it. So
maybe.
Yeah. But with dialogue though as well. And so I know we've spoken in the past about obviously they're working from home currently because of the current global situation. Maybe, just maybe, it's been easier to get voice actors to do their work since everybody's locked down because you haven't got to fly them out. You haven't got to pay for studio time. You know, they could sit at home.
Yep.
Like, Osiris has got 15, 20 lines of dialogue in this mission.
Mm-hmm.
His voice actor could have sat at home and got a script, said each line 5 or 6 different ways, popped it in a freaking email and sent it off.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what
Zavala doing this season.
Yeah, exactly. That's what.
Lance is doing his closet, doesn't he? Yeah. So does it? Because there's been so much voice acting this season. It's crazy, and this is probably going to be the first season since they got sent working from home. Because you got to think, it's been for in the UK, it's been 10 months, 3 weeks, something like that since we started our lockdown. The States, that happened a little bit later, so they will probably started working on this around that time.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, look, we ain't got to fly you in, guys. We ain't got to pay all this money to fly you into a studio. Do what you can from home, and let's see what we can do. And it's turned out really well. If that's what they've done, if this is the first season, this is the first lockdown season.
Mm-hmm.
Where's it going to go from here? I know we were quite critical last season about surely it's only going to get worse, but this has then proven us wrong. And we're only 1 week in, so
don't have the money. Did you guys see that information that the Anarchy ornament alone may help Bungie make their sales goal for the year?
Whoa!
Oh, the Siva one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've not seen it. So
it's basically I was told that, but I pretty much think this is more than likely a truth. Because I wouldn't be surprised because the Whisper ornaments alone, like Luke Smith says, paid for the Outbreak mission, blah blah blah. But so I was told that the Anarchy ornament alone helped Bungie reach their sales goal for the year.
That's insane.
And I wouldn't be surprised by that because I know that I'm one of the few people who hasn't bought it yet. I will, but
I don't have the weapon, so I still haven't because you need the.
Oh, so it's just an epic tease for you.
Yeah, you need the conquest things, don't you? I haven't done any raids to get the conquest stuff, so.
Don't have the money, my ass, when they have sexy ornaments like that. Hey, take my wallet for me, please. Although, let me ask, what do you guys think of the ornament for this gun?
It's bad.
It
covers up a beautiful weapon with some random, I don't know.
We'll be fighting cloth or something.
Yeah, it's.
I don't like it. It's
fine.
It.
We ain't gonna spend it. We just got to look at the gun and love the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. And that's the same opinion I have about the that SMG from Tex Mechanica. I think that the ornament makes it look worse. Because I think you're covering up the metal and the gold and all that. You know what I mean?
Yes, I agree. I mean, it's got a couple. Hold on, looking at it now.
Yeah, though, we're still talking about the mission. We've strayed away from the mission. So
I'm just asking.
No,
you're right. Let's stay on
people, because obviously the basic puzzle bits aren't too difficult. Shoot an electric thing, open a door, get above, go through some deadly stuff. But did you guys notice that your ghost you can't spawn your ghost in those areas, which is amazing. Because
what areas?
So when you're right near the areas, where you've got to get the buff to go through that pure dark.
That ogre.
You can't spawn your ghost. If you walk into the area of your ghost out,
Wow.
Because what it is I press back button to bring up the tracker, and Ghost like doesn't spawn, but his shell just like separates and just like spaces out in the top corner of your screen. So I was like, what's this? Press it to pull him out fully, and he just doesn't come out because there's no atmosphere for him to come out, like, because it's just pure darkness, so he can't spawn in it, which is a bit weird because he can spawn in darkness zones in strikes, but he can't spawn here, which shows you the concentration of the darkness. I love that as a little like lore / gameplay thing. I thought that was meant.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's very astute.
I didn't even try to take my Ghost out, so like I wouldn't know.
Oh yeah. Well, I was just there going, is anything highlighting? I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I'm just walking around with my Ghost. So
I took it out. I thought it was the new thing where to pull out the Ghost doesn't cancel your like buff from, because I had Ace of Spades with Memento Mori, and I thought that was it. That's cool. Okay.
That's cool. Yeah, it doesn't cancel your buffs and stuff, does it? So
yeah.
So
now,
then,
what did you guys think of the So during the mission, what did you guys think of the Star Wars trash compactor room?
That got me.
It was okay.
2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Got me once.
It got us once, yeah.
Yeah, no, because I was just there like, and because it was just me, I wasn't quick enough. The thing is, I ended up blowing a super to blow up all the bits.
Yeah.
And then that little one just popped on the left hand side, and I dropped down. But I had to use a Void Nova to blow them all up so I could escape. Because I wasn't quick enough. So.
Ours kind of bugged out, so my friend got crushed, but I didn't get crushed, so I was just like sliding along when it was like that. And then it went back, and I was like, hey, I'm fine. And then it reset the encounter, and then when we started it again, there was no enemies, and all the lids were already like popped, so we just shot them. So
I don't think the enemies restart though, so...
Okay, so then it wasn't a glitch then?
Yeah, because we failed it.
But I didn't die from it.
When you fail it, it resets the encounter, but it shouldn't reset the enemies. As far as my experience went, like when we failed we failed once on the first run, once on the second run. It didn't reset the enemies, as far as we know. But
the enemies,
it was good though.
The enemies, yeah.
Scorn.
All right, let's go.
Yeah,
Scorn.
Scorn. I didn't mind.
Wow.
Scorn. You know.
Experimented Scorn as well. You know, they're not pure Scorn, are they? They've been experimented on and stuff. So
yeah,
you know.
I still hate the Scorn, but I didn't mind. I understand why they're in this, and I totally respect that.
Give them a chance to shine. Like, they're in the game, might as well like give them,
do something with them. Yeah,
put them. I think the thing about the Scorn, I think, is they're not used properly. Like when they're in the wild in the Tangled Shore, I just don't think it just doesn't work for them because they're not scary like that. Like the Scorn are best in situations like this where you have nowhere to run and they're coming at you.
Either. Yeah. So you didn't know where the hell they're coming from.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
You know, when I was
fan
playing,
of that, tell you that. So.
The fucking, what are they called? What's the Screebs? When I turned the corner for the first time and I'm like, oh fuck! Like, you know, I was like, oh shit! So many times my brother and I were blown up in an encounter, like inside one of those little mazes, and we're just like, fuck! You know, so this is where the Scorn are at their best, you know, or in the Baron missions, the Baron missions where it's really tight, you know, like the one with the well, he's got the big flaming mace, and that's a great one. I just don't think the Scorn work out in the open, you know? That's why I think their strikes aren't very good, because the strike, the Hollowed Lair, isn't good because it's a little bit too open. I think it'd be better if it was like kind of like a situation like this. Like this would totally work as the atmosphere for a strike with Scorn as the boss, you know? But what'd you guys think when you first encountered the Scorn? Do you want to start, John?
Yeah. So they got me. They made me jump, and I'm just like, oh, they'll be fine. One shot, or they're not dead. Why? It's not dying. I'm dead. So I just ended up throwing grenades, just chain killing them because you expect just to one shot them and them die.
Yeah.
You know, but they don't. So that was difficult, but fun difficult. The hardest bit, and I mentioned it to Nick briefly before we started, was so the last boss wasn't that bad for me. I failed on him once, and all I kept doing afterwards was I'd drop down like the north side, shoot until he ran to me, run to the south side, shoot until he ran to me, and I just back and forth. So I just did that. That was my tactic. But the middle room with the 2 reskinned ogres in the hangar bay, or the Halo 2 room as Nick called it, that was difficult because no radar.
Agree.
that was challenging, and it got to a point where it was frustrating because I'm like, I don't. There's no checkpoint. There's no nothing. It's just you could spend 10 minutes on that and die.
Yep.
You got to do it all over again. So, but once I've completed it, I felt like accomplishment. And then there was nothing else for the rest of the mission that was challenging like that. So, but I enjoyed it. The enemies worked, the sound design, everything worked with the encounters. Just maybe get rid of one of the, I don't even know what to call it, one of the reskinned ogres, because two of them just makes that, as a solo in it anyway, made it really difficult because a Void Nova, a Nova Bomb, does about a third of its health, like a full damage. All the strays hitting it, like a third of its health. I'm like, that's unfair. That's not fair. Bungie, hate you.
You need anarchy.
Yeah.
What I need.
I was using
is for them
anarchy.
to die quicker.
What you need is to team up with your fellow Xbox player.
Oh, what I need is for you not to be 8 hours behind me, so I could have done that.
You just got to give me a heads up. But what about you, Nick? What are your thoughts?
So about the Screebs too, like it was fun because you had to focus them down, right? Sometimes because those situations don't appear if you can just like you turn around, you shoot them real quick, but you have to actually like warn your friend. I was like look out, there's they're coming. You have to like, run, and then you have to like run and then both turn back and shoot them. So those kind of situations don't appear if you have too little health on them. So in that sense, yeah, it's not always good to have like enemies take more hits to kill, but for sure in that, because you still had your red bars and things strewn in there in the battle encounters, but that was a very like deliberate thing where you had to focus them and work as a team even in those little tight corners. So yeah, I liked all of it, and the boss was fine, like having the light mechanic thing where you had to activate the things and go down. And
question for you, because neither of you are warlocks. How did you deal with the middle lever? Because I had to put my well down to be able to do it, because otherwise I would have died each time.
My friend who was a warlock did it.
Oh yeah.
Oh really? Oh
yeah.
I did it. I was a hunter. My brother's a lock. No. I just would slide. He would go through the other door, and he would shoot the enemy, and then I would slide in and just hold X while I'm sliding in.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because as a hunter, I definitely didn't have. He had more health than me, but I was faster than him. So, and then at least for the end boss, what we would do is he would go down one way, and I would go down the other, and we would time it. So we'd do like 3, 2, 1, go. And then we drop down together, and it would force the boss to, pick one. And then we would just whittle him down for the first 2 bars. And then for the final bar, we would literally just have him chase like me around while my brother would just pepper him the whole time. And, I hit him with Lament a couple times, but like,
I never got close to it.
So strong. Yeah, I think you can only really do that. You can only do that strat if you have multiple people, because then it forces him to like focus. And then I put like Vorpal weapon on my SMG, and I was just peppering him the whole time. But he kept chasing me and just couldn't get me on the final bit. And then obviously that kind of dumbs down how scary it's supposed to be. But
it's still challenging though. It's like especially that third bar, because you get enemies spawn up top as well. So for me, I was hitting him, jumping up, going across, having to kill enemies on the way across, drop down, hit him, and the enemy just continuously spawn. So yeah, it can be challenging, and that's the thing. It's an encounter that scales. It's challenging if you solo, or if you do a certain tactic, and then it gets easier with more players, and that's what an encounter should do. It shouldn't be trivial with 3 people or 1 person. It should be rewarding, and that's what that whole mission does. I'm looking forward to redoing it to get the lore stuff. Because did you find the ghost? Did you find the ghost when you did?
I found it, but you can't pick it up.
Yeah, you can't do anything with it. But yeah, but when you do the jumping puzzle, there's just a dead ghost, isn't there? So, and then there's some logs on the floor, and it's weapons and stuff like. In one of the rooms, basically, if you put your ghost out, anything that's highlightable will be scannable, but you can't scan it yet. So, was quite a few things, which was good. So
wait, so can you scan the 5 scannables yet? Because there's 5 scannables that tell you the story about what happened to the crew.
You couldn't scan it on your first time through. I don't know about your second time, so I haven't gone back in yet.
I wasn't able to.
If you pull your ghost out, you can. They're highlightable, so you know that they're scannable.
You couldn't do it on your second run through, Nick?
I haven't done the second run yet.
Okay, so I'm gonna try today. Hopefully, my brother and I will do a third run, because I know we know we're not gonna get another roll, but we want to do it just so we can get the 5 scannables. Just because like we're about what the fuck happened to the crew, because this is for some Halo lore buffs from way back when. This mission totally reminds me of this comic story in Halo that's low-key one of the best ones in Halo. It's called The Voyage of the Infinite Succor or something like that. And it's about a Covenant ship that went missing. And you guys remember Halfjaw from Halo 2 and 3?
Yeah. The white
elite commander with the half his mandibles are ripped off.
Yeah.
And he's like, their lives matter to me. Yours does not. That makes 2 of us. Yeah. So Halfjaw, he's a elite like strike team commander, and then he becomes like, the shipmaster. So, and everybody was always like, what happened to his mandibles? And they go to the Covenant ship, and it's infested with flood, and it's like this crazy dark tale. And they team up with a human at the end, I think, but I can't remember all the way. But when I was playing this mission, I was getting total vibes from that, and I was like, oh. And that there are some Bungie members that did work on Halo left, and it's like, come on, nobody mentioned this at all. Somebody had to have mentioned that story when they were making this mission. Somebody had to have read that back in the day when they were making Halo, and was like, yo, remember that mission with Halfjaw? All right, like the Halo 2 mission where you first play as the Arbiter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second part of that mission is like, it's all the Flooder in there being tested on and shit. Same shit. So freaking cool.
Halo,
yeah.
But talk about when you drop down at the end of the mission into the control room.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
I want to see somebody do some artwork of that. That's proper like Silent Hill the film. So the first Silent Hill film reminds me so much of Sybil when she's spoilers for a film that's like 15 years old, when she's struggled above the fire. It reminded me of that. Just this torture that this Guardian had been through, and obviously his ghost had been killed. We don't know what killed it, but his ghost was dead, so he had no chance, and they were just draining the light out of him.
Right.
A bit like the Iron Lords also, when you saw them in Rise of Iron.
Yeah. I felt really bad for him. I was like, shit, Hunter gang, but it was like, when we dropped down there, and then I look up and I'm like, oh fuck, like I got a good screenshot of it. So what I do is I have my brother stand behind my character, then I sit down and I can get amazing screenshots. So I got a really good one. I'm gonna have to put it on Twitter because do
it.
Wow, like so good, and like the dark black expanse, cold expanse of space behind it. It's just so sad, but it's so interesting. You're like, what happened? Like you really want to know, like, what the fuck happened?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the rifle's just sitting there, and I love how it started. I was just like, well, take the rifle. It was offered up, wasn't it? So wow.
That was bugged for me. I didn't see the whole thing. There was no prompt, nothing. I just picked it up from Zavala after.
Oh
no, but you don't get the gun though from, even though you pick that up, you don't get the gun there. You get it from.
It wasn't there. I couldn't find it anywhere.
Okay.
There was nothing.
Well, you'll hopefully see it on your next run, but it was sitting there being like held up by the stuff, and then you grab it, and I assume like you put it in your backpack or something, and then you bring it to Zavala. But yeah, I mean that control room was something else. But
it looked a little small to me though for Cabal.
Yeah.
I know it's thingy, but it looked like a human-sized, like all the consoles and everything. Obviously the Cabal are huge, aren't they? So, so whether there's a story thing about that, maybe the Cabal that he had, it was manned by like scions and stuff like that, and not necessarily.
I believe it's scions that operate all the tech.
Right.
Like scions are kind of like their engineers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I believe it's scions operate all the technological stuff, but Cabal handle all the weaponry. Like, so that's as far as I can understand. But
and there's a collectible behind him as well. So I'm guessing.
Wait, what?
Get that at some point. There's one of the gold packs. There's one behind him. So when you are looking for them, when you were able to collect them, the fifth one's behind him. So.
Oh yeah, I was reading a thing about that, the data pads, and I think, like I said, I think it's from a completion each week, and I think like whatever the thing is, it'll tell you which one's the next one you need to grab. Because if I'm correct, the lore tab, I don't remember where it is. Captain's log. Something tells you. I don't remember what it was though. Yeah. So at the end of each captain's log, it'll say like this one says, frenetic scrawl inked in the margin reads, smuggler switches still working, maintenance side hatch, had to kick in vent. And that's
where
like
do you see this?
So that was on the lore tab. So if you go to the third lore page called the darkness and you scroll all the way down to the captain's log, which you all should have gotten page 1.
Okay.
I believe you all should have gotten page 1.
Yeah, you get it for the gun, yeah.
Yeah. So if you scroll all the way down, there's like a teaser. And so this one says smuggler switch is still working, maintenance side hatch, had to kick in the vent. And I think that's like a tease to tell you where the next pad is for the next, lore tab. I think that's where it is.
I'll have a look at it.
Yeah. And there's also like there's different like triumphs. So like there's one where it's like discover each of the Glycon smuggling compartments.
Yeah.
And we know there's going to be a master difficulty, and so I know Azcross was theorizing that he thinks the catalyst is going to drop from your first master completion, which, man, I can only imagine how tough that's going to be. I really would hate this mission if it had match game. I think I'd want to die inside. I hate match games so much.
Don't jinx it. There's a triumph for solo master though. That's
fucking hell.
Without dying, I think as well. Solo master without dying. It's like
fuck,
man, with all the creeps. Oh man.
And there's you only get a score of 5 for that, and you don't even get an emblem.
Yeah, exactly.
You should get an emblem for that. You really should.
You should get the next expansion for free for that.
Oh.
But it's pretty cool. I mean, the catalyst is going to be disgusting. So
do we know what?
I don't know what it is. So is it?
Is it data mine?
Yeah, is it official?
Or is it... Then I don't want to know.
Yeah. Because
it's on Light GG. Like it's on Light GG.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the yeah.
Cool. But all I'll say is that the catalyst is gonna make the gun really fucking good. That's all I'll say.
Cool.
But it's worth it. It'll be a catalyst that's worth the pain of a master difficulty, which I think he's right. I think it's probably just gonna drop from that. Yeah. But that's the thing. I think it's gonna be really tough, but it'll probably be fun. The scaling feels a bit off to me because the mission says 1230, but like I said, I was at 1302 and I was getting fucked up by like those scoring. Like the boss fight wasn't really that bad, but like you said, that hangar room is really tough. And like even at 1302, I'm seeing swords, and I'm like, so is it at 1230 or is it not? Like, I don't really understand how the difficulty works right now for the game.
Seems like there's some kind of conquest modifier kind of thing where you're always underleveled.
Yeah, because I was 1279, and I didn't struggle with it in terms of getting squashed. I struggled with it because of overwhelming numbers. So
it seems like there's some kind of like set amount of levels that they're over your. So
all right, that's fine. I was just curious about it because I was like, this doesn't feel like 1230. So
yeah,
I think you're probably right. But
I guess if we start to wrap soon, what do we think about the new battleground?
I think it's cool. I think it's fantastic. I think they're almost like strikes in a way, right? This one especially. Yeah. So it's almost like we get that they're all count, because the thing we like to do anyway is just like kill lots of enemies, and these provide like so many enemies, so many satisfying.
Yeah, bounty's done really quick as well, don't you?
Oh yeah, like, exactly. But so they're just more combat heavy strikes. Like in one sense, they're more expansive. Like there's more encounters almost than in, let's say, Devil's Lair. Mm-hmm. Like that's also a combat encounter heavy strike, right? You go to one place, you stand there, shoot enemies. Go to another place, just defend the area, or clear out an area and move on. So in that sense, I think they're worthy almost as much content as a strike. Obviously, reused areas. I was hoping that they'd continue the trend with, because the very first one had a new area, but after that it's been say or old areas. So
what do you think
the preview?
No,
go ahead.
Okay, what do you think about the story bit at the end? So when you go back to Helm and you get Osiris talking
shit to Keitel.
Yeah, basically like, look,
where you going? Go yet.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't go?
I don't think so, because I did that one today. Listen, man. I did the mission, the quest for the exotic. I did like an hour and a half.
Oh my god!
It's not really much of a spoiler.
No, don't go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Basically, you arrive there, you hand in everything like that, and he's talking to her, just saying, look, if you carry on how you're going on, you're not going to have anybody to have a war council with. We just kicking your ass kind of thing. And she's just, I can't remember her wording, but it was along the lines of, because of honor and stuff, we'll never give in. And Crow, is it, brings up that Amanda Holloway brings up that right now when she's doing her flybys, all she's seeing is military. So it's like, where are the kids? Where are the women? Where are the elderly? Because the Cabal are throwing everything they have at this fight on our own turf and are losing. But where are all the families? They've got these. There's no civilians around, and I thought that was really key, because if this is their last ditch effort to survive as a species and as a coalition, where are the families, and where are the elderly and the children and stuff? So it was really good, and it's about 30 seconds long. But it added so much to it, and gave another depth and perspective. Because again, Amanda Holloway, voice actress, has not done anything for ages, and now she's get 30 seconds work, and she's back being relevant again. So
it's really nice. She that little message when you get into the helm, make sure you go over to that messaging portal before you table, because her message is very, like you said, it's very interesting. Like she says she's just running sorties, scouting it out, and the ships aren't shooting at her, they're just letting her do her thing. And she said, like, because we do know from last week that the Cabal Homeworld Tour bottle was destroyed by Xivu Arath and the Darkness, and that's why really sad.
Cosmodrome now, aren't they? So.
Yeah, because I've always wanted to see what their homeworld looked like, which is really sad. But so now they're very much like the migrant fleet of the from Mass Effect, from the Quarians. They're very much like that. And I think I didn't even think of that until she said what you said, like when she's like, but where are all the women and the children and all that? I'm like, fuck, I didn't even think of that. Like, where are they? And she's like, they might be out in the edges of the solar system, like staying safe. But like you said, like, I think it's so interesting that, from her voice line, and also the voice lines that you can hear during the Cosmodrome Battleground, is like how the Cabal are so bent on getting revenge on the Hive for destroying their world that they're throwing everything they have at the Cosmodrome Battleground. And it's so interesting to be going into this battleground, and you're basically just catching the Cabal from behind as they're trying to burrow their way into that Hive nest. And I almost feel bad in a way. Like I almost feel really guilty, because it's like, I understand. Like, and I said to my brother, I said, don't you think it's kind of interesting that the two races that we're probably going to end up teaming up with soon. Like, we're already sort of teaming up with the Fallen, and we're more than likely going to team up with the Cabal, the last of the Cabal Empire. How all three of our races have, in a sense, lost our homeworld. Because like we've kind of lost our homeworld. Like, our homeworld's ravaged. We barely have control of it anymore. So we're all three races in the same, bucket together. And the only problem is they're all being super stubborn instead of just being like, yes, we're all the same situation. Now there's Fallen that still want to stick to the old ways and want to grab stasis and all that shit. And then the Cabal, like you said, when she says like, we'll die before we give in. And it's like, and Osiris is basically like, okay, then you'll die then, like, because you're not going to win this fight. And I love what he says. What was it? He said something like, an empress with no empire is in no situation to start making demands.
Something like that, yeah.
And I love this, like, it was so satisfying for me because, like, we've all been saying this all season. Like, all Guardians have been saying this on Twitter and all that. Like, who the hell is she? Like, who the hell does she think she is? She come over here and start talking shit to us. We've been whooping their ass for years. Like, so that's what I think is very interesting. My only problem is, it's not really a problem. It's a nitpick. There's two. All right, I have two nitpicks. All right, I'm just going to say it. They're not a big deal. They don't ruin the game for me. I just wanted to get them out there so I feel better. One, I would very much like a chance to fight her loyalist troops. I would love to actually see them and fight them.
We'll probably do that in the strike, won't we?
Probably in the end, yeah. I'm tired of fighting Red Legion. I'm tired of seeing Red Legion. But two, but I understand why they're there. But two, Devil's Lair. Was Bungie really so lazy that they couldn't just change the color palette of the Fallen from the House of Dust to the House of Devils? Because look, if you don't want to change the strike and you just want it to be the Devil's Lair, that's fine. I can live with that. But you need to change the color from blue to red. I'm just saying. It's just my opinion. Just saying.
Fine. So last I think few bits from me to tie into this is one. I still think, like what I said last week, I think we are, by the end of this, we are going to be teaming up with her. More she'll be teaming with us because we'll be this stronger fleet and everything like that. Two, the battleground was so good. The whole, like you said, going in like from behind with them. So at first you're facing front on, but as you get further into it, you come up against a bunch of phalanxes who are facing that way with the shields. So you just literally grenade or rocket or whatever, and you just wipe them out, and it's just funny because you're like, yeah, you shouldn't be fighting a battle on two fronts. And then what the line from Crow when he says to Osiris, I think it was Osiris said it too anyway. When he's like basically, where were you during the Red War? And he's like, oh, radio problem.
I love that line.
Yeah, because one, it's like, to be fair, how does Crow know that? Crow wouldn't know that he wasn't around, but it's such a shady line, and it shows you the personality that Crow is developing. You know, that he's got the confidence to talk back to them and go, well, where were you last time? You know, you weren't here defending. Yeah, you were there for the Battle of Twilight Gap or for whatever it was, but you weren't here for the Red War. You know, you weren't here when we were at our weakest, when we were on our knees and everything. So it's just good story, and I think there's arguably more in the first two resets, or one reset technically, than we got for the whole of the last season. So most interesting thing last season was Crow's freaking poop bucket. You know. So
yeah, that's true.
Oh my god, he poops in a bucket.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What about you, Nick?
Well, yeah, pretty much having the battlegrounds be more than I expected in terms of story is fantastic. Yeah, not much to add to what John so eloquently said. So
poop bucket.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
yep.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. As a lore junkie, I'm sorry, I'm not on the level of like the lore junkies on the other podcast, but I'm pretty close. But yeah, I mean the lore that we've been getting these last week and one day has been like really great. And they've
Yeah.
been finding really good ways to get it into the game because I know that they don't have all the manpower, they don't have all this and that, so they're finding really creative ways to try to squeeze it all in there. Um, so that was great, and I'm really enjoying this season so far. I know we're only a week and one day in, but this is already so far ahead of last season and a couple other types of seasons that, man, I'm really satisfied. So, yeah, I think I'm having a great time with this season. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I'm loving playing. So there's enough new loot to chase. I got an
Palindrome this
energy.
week, boys. Palindrome?
Yes, palindrome. I got my
I've not got it yet. I've
wish.
done like 7 Nightfalls and they haven't dropped.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Wait, so does that mean that Shadow Price only drops from when Devil's Lair's Nightfall?
Well, I mean,
No,
it might be on a
it's
3-week
weekly.
rotation.
Yeah, it's a 3-week rotation.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So this week is Palindrome.
Yeah.
I gotta get it. I gotta get it.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
no. Yeah. Informing it.
Yeah.
Not got it. So.
Well,
Yeah.
this Nightfall is a bit easier to farm than Devil's Lair. Devil's Lair was
Really? Devil's Lair with
my
Risk
opinion.
Runner was a joke.
I didn't see. That's the thing. I was stubborn and I wasn't using Risk Runner,
Yeah.
so I should definitely do that. But I just think Arms Dealer is really easy to farm.
Yeah, it's not a
Like,
difficult one anyway.
It's not very difficult. I love it as a strike. I think it's a great strike. It's not to downplay the strike. I think it's a fantastic strike, but
Sure.
I think it's just easier to farm. There's no real areas where you really get bogged down.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've said it already. Last thing, I'll say it again. Last thing, but it's more of
Yeah,
a
go for
question to you two is, and so Nick won't have seen it yet, but Saladin says something along the lines of, if we don't stop the Cabal from doing what they're doing, then we will. It could be the end of a new generation of new
That was
lights,
before. Yeah, I've seen that.
Oh, was that before? Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought it was at the end. It all blurred together anyway. But yeah, so he says that. To me, I don't take that as all Guardians come from Russia, but the internet, some factions on the internet have blown up and gone, they don't care about the lore anymore. What about Guardians that come from the Reef? What about where they come from X, Y, and Z? They tied it into a gameplay bit where New Light, doesn't matter who you are, New Light starts in Russia. That's all it is. It's a gameplay thing. They're not going, like New Guardians can't be born in old Chicago, for example. They're saying that the majority of New Guardians come from Russia, not all.
Yeah.
So, but they were, we don't care about lore anymore, and it's like, oh my god.
I think
That's
where
not what they're
people
saying.
are getting it wrong is that they're
What
forgetting
do
that.
you two think about it? Because I don't agree.
As far as I can remember, the Cosmodrome was the site of a large amount of death. That's where a large amount of civilians were when the darkness destroyed everything. So I think you're right. I think 50% of it is gameplay, but I also think 50% of it is partially your Guardian, but also the fact that a lot of civilians died there. So likely there's a lot of potential Guardian specimens buried there because so many people died. Because the Cosmodrome was one of the central locations on the planet Earth where people launched into space. So that's what I think it is. What do you think, Nick?
Well, yeah. First of all, I don't really use Reddit, so I don't know what people have been talking.
It wasn't Reddit. It was Twitter. I've not even got into it on Reddit yet. So.
Or yeah, I'm just not super up to date on all the speculation from the community. So all I have to go on is what I remember is I heard it more of it's been one of the strongest staging grounds for new Guardians and sort of there's more activity there now than elsewhere.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, so, that's similar stance to me.
So it all made sense to me. I didn't really question it at that time. It just didn't strike me as anything special.
Yeah, no, me neither. People are just latching onto that one line of if the Cabal take the Cosmodrome, then we're gonna run out of Guardians. Basically, it's like that's not what they're saying. that's not listening, not what they're saying. It's just like you said, it's a big staging ground, etc. So, so yeah.
All right.
I just didn't know what your guys' opinions on it were. I guess if there's any listeners who've got an opinion, then it'd be interesting to hear it, because it can be debated. Anything can be debated, but I think it's been completely twisted.
Okay.
No character went, this is the only place in the galaxy that Guardians come from. It's just New Light is a gameplay experience, and you all spawn in Russia. I think I think they're just tying that together. I don't think it's any lore change. I don't think it's anything like that. But they retconning anything else. So. Oh, we've lost you, Dimitri. Still lost you.
No sound.
So what Dimitri's saying is, see you next week, guys.
Nope.
Right.
No.
Do. Just play the Mass Effect elevator music. Just
yeah. No. This is fascinating.
It is. For those that can't see it, Dimitri's just like looking absolutely perplexed at the camera. So what could be really cruel is if we went, actually we can hear him, but he doesn't know, and we're just pretending we can't. But I don't think we can. I don't think we've got that poker face, me and Nick, have we?
No, definitely not.
No, we'll have to do it next time though. He's not going to listen to this bit, so next week we'll have to do it to him. So.
Yes. But can he hear us?
He probably can, yeah. But he'll be like, "Good morning, Guardians. Welcome to another episode of the Deep Stone Podcast." I can hear us. He's shaking his head. I will be like, "Can't hear Dimitri. Can't hear you." No, Dimitri. What?
No.
All right. Nick can wrap it up. Go on, Nick.
All right. Well, we didn't discuss the TWAB, but as I remember, there wasn't anything super crucial, and so I guess next week we're gonna give our updated thoughts on subsequent runs of the mission, of the exotic mission, and obviously when we've had proper time to use the weapon itself, see how it performs, and maybe get some rolls and discuss what the best ones are so far that we got. And new battlegrounds, there's gonna be one more. There's gonna be a month's break, or is it?
Yeah, 23rd is the last one. Yeah, so we'll probably get another one, won't we, next week?
Oh, there we go. Did I fix it?
Okay. Yep.
Oh,
all right. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I pressed something, but yeah, there was nothing really in the 12 that was super interesting.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, sorry about that, Guardians. I'm still shit with technology, but we've known this. So, yeah, I think we had a great episode, and I look forward to the next episode. And hopefully, this 12 has some more information. It's some juicy information. But at least now you know what that part in the trailer when he said there is no light here. Now we know where it was from, and it was fantastic, and I had a great time.
Also, our new time slot, we're probably, do you want to talk on that real quick? We're probably going to move to Wednesdays, because this way, like, had we done this on Sunday, we'd been 5 days late to all of this stuff, so we got to give our, after reset, we got our fresh opinions on stuff. So
that's if we do the content, Nick? So.
Right.
Yeah.
I barely got it done. Like, I literally did it half an hour before we went live. I finished the mission.
Yeah. I got home from work and I was like, oh, fuck, I still got to do the mission. Shit.
But I mean, it's going to be first impressions, then it's going to be updated like a week,
after the next runs.
Yeah.
And I'll try to, hopefully, maybe we can get the scannables. Probably we won't be able to, but I'm going to try. And then if I can, I'd love to be able to shed some light on that information, but
some new light.
Yeah. So,
and on that bombshell,
we're going to continue our grind for Palindrome and whatnot, and we will give our next week. But yes, Wednesdays. Looks like it's going to be from now on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It just works better for these two smithereens, and it actually just works better in terms of, like you said, getting the information out at the right time.
Relevant,
So,
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks once again for joining me, Nick and John. I had a great time. The Guardians had a great time. So we will see you all next week.
Take care, everyone.
Peace.
See y'all. Bye.